Hello, welcome to Slow Fashion October week 3, where we are breaking down the fears that surround living with less. Now, there are a lot more than 3 fears that surround the topic of living with less, but for the sake of digestibility, we're going to break down just 3. Now, these are the 3 that I've really struggled with, so I think that they're a great place to start. Also, I'm going to break this down into part 1 and part 2 because as I'm reading through my script that I wrote for this, I'm realizing there is a lot of content here and I just don't want it to be too crazy overwhelming. So I will talk about the first 2 fears, the first fear in one video and the second 2 fears in a next video. So let's get on started. The 3 fears that we will be diving into are overwhelm is the first one. We're talking phrases like conscious consumption, sustainability, and social responsibility and what they really mean. Part of overwhelm is also the fear of being fleeced by companies that claim to be green, but actually have some very unsustainable and unethical practices. How do we know if a company is truly walking the walk? The second fear we're going to be diving into is money. Money is definitely a fear when it comes to investing in socially conscious brands, but I'm going to be sharing some tips with you on how you can reframe your mindset about how much a piece of clothing really costs you, and so you can see how investing in fewer pieces can actually end up saving you money, which who doesn't love that? The third fear we're going to be breaking down is other people's opinions. Why are other people's opinions so important to us? We're breaking down some strategies and tips to keep you focused on what's best for you and how you can live a life with less and not have it cost you any relationships, except maybe the ones you don't really want to be in anyway. Let's dig into fear number 1, overwhelm. So this is the one that got pretty big because I really wanted to dissect it. So we're going to focus just on overwhelm for this video. And I'm going to put your mind at ease to kick things off and assure you that there is no one right way to be perfectly sustainable. It's really normal to feel so overwhelmed that you make no change at all, but that's exactly what we don't want to be doing. Next week, we're going to dive deeper into the first steps to take to reduce your environmental impact, mostly regarding your closet. But for today, I just want to remind you that imperfect progress is the only way that you're going to achieve your goals. So let go of the idea that there's only one way to be a mindful consumer, because it's just not true. And in fact, that is part of what makes being a mindful consumer so overwhelming, is that there's not just one right way to do it. But this realization should give you courage, because now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good. Yes, I just stole that quote from John Steinbeck, but I don't really think he'll mind. So, what can we start with today? I think that is breaking down what these phrases actually mean. Phrases like conscious consumption, sustainability, and social responsibility. In my opinion, conscious consumption is a phrase that we really should be focusing on, because it means that you're paying attention to the products you're purchasing and how they were made. So this includes the working conditions of the people who made it, what's in it, what processes were used to make it, things like that. A lot of times it's going to be challenging to find all of these answers, but companies that are focused on this kind of thing and it's important to them, they'll almost always make sure that this information is available in some way, shape, or form on their social media and their website. Sustainability is a term that gets used far too often with far too little regard to what it actually means. Technically, sustainability is the ability to be maintained at a certain rate or level. So anytime we're talking about sustainability, we're really talking about the all-encompassing longevity of the thing. If we're talking about a shirt, we're considering how sustainable was the process to grow the cotton to make it. Were the sewers making an income to sustain a healthy lifestyle? How long will this piece live in your closet? After you're done with it, how long will this piece take to decompose into the earth? And we can even break that one down a little bit further. Natural fabrics are typically more sustainable than synthetic ones like polyester, because they require less chemicals to make and they decompose so much faster than synthetic ones, like hundreds of years faster. And organic materials are usually better than conventional materials because less chemicals were used to grow them. So hopefully that's a good example for you about how complex sustainable is, and why we can't just trust a company that uses it as a buzzword with nothing to back it up. So, lastly, we're going to chat about social responsibility, which, according to Wikipedia, is an ethical framework that suggests an entity, an organization, or a person has an obligation to act for the benefit of society at large. In terms of slow fashion, this looks like investing in pieces that were made with respect for people who made it and the resources used to make it. Make sense? So, now, how do we know if a company is ethically and sustainably producing products? First of all, let me start by saying there's no such thing as perfectly sustainable. There is no perfectly sustainable fabric, dye process, packaging, or method of delivery. To quote one of my favorite authors, Barbara Kingsolver, living takes life. So, this is the same mindset that we must keep about us when we dig into how a company produces their products. There are a few specific resources you can use to find out if a company has ethical and sustainable practices. First, you can see if they are B Corp certified. B Lab is a nonprofit group that measures a company's social responsibility. You can find an online directory of B Corp certified companies, and I will link that in the comments for you. However, being the founder of an independent label, it's also important to me that we keep small businesses in mind when we are researching ethical brands. Many independent labels aren't yet B Corp certified, even if they aspire to get there. So you can look at other important things that a company may be doing to help you gauge if they're sustainable or not. And things like that could be, what kind of fabric do they use? Organic, natural, and recycled are all good words to look for. How are they manufacturing their products? Most companies will share about their manufacturing processes online, and just do your best to judge if a brand seems to be authentic. Many brands will also post about their process and behind the scenes on social media, so if you are following them and staying updated, you really should be able to tell if a company is walking the walk. All right, that's all for Overwhelm. I hope you found some good info in there. Pop over to the next video, which is part 2. We're digging into the second and third fears surrounding living with less, and that is money and other people's opinions. So see ya on over there.